Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tier List here. This is going to be a fun one. We're doing Thanksgiving foods today. Pretty passionate topic for a lot of people. And we got some good guests helping out. So making his first time appearance on the show is going to be Jerry. Jerry, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Zach? Can't wait to get going on this. It's going to be so much fun.
Good. Love it. And also making a return appearance is Nikki.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. There's not gonna be any contention at all, especially when it comes to pumpkin or anything.
I agree. I mean, I think we've got a good blend of people here with different opinions and but all respectful opinions, and we're gonna have a good time with this.
Yeah.
So before we get started, anything you guys want to put out there? Jerry, any hot takes that you just want to warn us about? Or
the only hot take I have that most people probably won't is that my S tier, one of my S tiers is homemade mac and cheese.
Okay, I mean that doesn't sound too crazy, so we'll see.
No,
we'll see when we get there.
Don't have that at S, and that's where I got it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I say let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Okay. So first, Nikki, I got a feeling this is going to be a passionate one for you. Chocolate pie.
Yes. Anything just made of chocolate is automatically B tier minimum. I'm not going to go super high with it though, because I adore it. But if we're thinking in terms of Thanksgiving, it's not a must-have. I prefer it to pumpkin pie, generally speaking, but I personally would not put it for this purpose over higher than A.
Okay, Jared, what do you think?
I love chocolate pie. I love it. Chocolate, and honestly, almost any other day of the week, chocolate pie is almost over pumpkin. But Thanksgiving, it's pumpkin pie, and then this chocolate, so it's an A at least for me. But if it was Christmas, maybe even chocolate over it.
Okay, so I mean, I'm definitely the odd man out here. Then I'm fine with chocolate pie, but especially for Thanksgiving, it doesn't come to mind as something that I necessarily want on Thanksgiving. But I would say it's probably okay to go in A. I think it may end up low A. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's my general sense here.
I could see it going low A, high B, because you're right. It's not a Thanksgiving food.
Jerry, now this is your first time here. I don't know if you know the rules, but
I don't.
On this show, we rank them exactly where we think they need to be, and we do not move them. There is no leveling of the tiers. There's no, if we think it's A, it's going in A and it's staying in A. Okay. So, I mean, if you've got an objection to that.
Oh, no, then it's an A.
Okay.
It's an A for me.
Chocolate pie. Starting the show with an A. All right. Next on the list, candied yams.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot what they taste like. My family just straight up doesn't eat them. I don't think so you added an F tier, which the list didn't originally had. I had them, for me personally, at the top of D, not because I specifically hate them. They're just completely irrelevant to me. But the fact that they're candied, there's going to be enough other sweet things. So I want a little bit more for Thanksgiving. It's only a little more savory. So to me, they're just kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I had them in D tier also in my preliminary rankings. They're just same deal. It's like they're normally there, but I don't notice anybody eating them. No one's asking for them. I generally don't put them on my plate. Jerry, what do you think?
They're not even at our dinners. Okay. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what they tasted like.
Okay, so I think D tier is a good spot for something that is like passively bad. So it's just inoffensive, right? It's not like outwardly ruining your day if you eat it. But it's like you don't really care for it. You don't really need it or necessarily want it. So yeah, I'm good with putting that at D.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, another pie already. Another sweet item. Apple pie.
Ooh. Okay, so I do like apple pie. It's not remotely close to being my favorite, especially not compared to chocolate or pumpkin, but I do like it. I could, for me personally, it can go in B. It's one of those where it's kind of just inoffensive. Apples in general are like not remotely my favorite fruit, but I think that's part of what contributes to the universality of it. So I could go B or C with it.
Yeah, I mean, same deal. It's like I like apple pie, but when given the options, like apple pie is not where I'm going normally on Thanksgiving. Same deal. So it's like, do you give it credit for being good, or do you knock it down a little bit for basically it's something that you almost look over on Thanksgiving.
So I was going to say really quickly, I know you're going to disagree. The next option I am going to personally put higher. So that's part of where my mindset also is. But you go ahead, Jerry.
So apple pie is iconic to me, but again, it's like third or fourth down the list on even pies. So I would put it at C. But if you guys are more comfortable with B, I get it because it is what it is. It's up there when people think of it. But I wouldn't even put it really high.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's keeping it at B for me is the fact that I do like apple pie. So it's like I would feel bad putting it any lower than that.
So here's my other problem just on a personal level, and this is very much probably a minority. My family doesn't do a lot of cooking or baking from scratch. So the whole concept of homemade pie is completely foreign to me. So I have a feeling if I had something like that, this would probably be higher for me. And I also, in general, I just love pie crust in any form. So I like it. It's just, but it's also not my favorite. But also if I think apple pie, I think what I get from Publix or the grocery store.
Okay, so are you feeling more B or more C then?
I'm going B because of the next one.
Okay. All right. So yeah, next one pretty much in the same vein here. Same item, just adding some ice cream to it.
Yeah. So this one, the big distinction for me is I'm assuming that this pie is then going to be warm.
Yeah.
If I'm eating. Otherwise, it's like the ice cream is just not going to add anything to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think apple pie traditionally is served warm or even hot.
Mm-hmm.
To me, adding the ice cream doesn't really change my opinion of the apple pie. They go together fine. I'm not somebody that is overly in love with adding ice cream to other pastries that I already like. I know a lot of people are very into that. I like to kind of have them separate, but it doesn't bother me that much to have them together.
Now, in my opinion, but the reason I say this is because I've had homemade ice cream on homemade apple pie, and it was so beautiful. It almost made you want to cry. So it's got to be at least above the regular apple pie. I don't know if I'd put it in A, though, because that's not everybody's experience.
Okay, so then we're happy putting it here then.
Yeah. I was also gonna say, as far as like individual desserts, I also like vanilla ice cream more than apple pie. So that's probably
I also like vanilla ice cream.
I'm not as big a fan. It's just too plain for me.
Okay.
I mean,
okay,
yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And actually, before we get to the next one, we actually have another guest joining us.
Who is it?
Making his second appearance. It's Jeff. Jeff, what's up, man?
Hey, sorry about that. I made the mistake of going to the grocery store the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's probably not fun. Jeff, take a quick look. We've only ranked 4 things so far, but anything that stands out to you?
So chocolate pie, while I admire the taste of it, I've never been a big fan of the actual texture of chocolate pie somehow, like the chocolate cream. Mm-hmm. So I would actually personally put it at C because I love chocolate. I love the flaky crust, but it never ends up coalescing for me. But if you guys all love it, then I'm fine keeping it where it is. Apple pie being a B is fine. I think apple pie plus ice cream, though, especially when it's fresh and warm, should be an A. Candied yams is at least a C, if not a B minus, because I personally really like them. But I haven't heard your discussions, so I can't push back against much of it.
Okay, so I'll just say nothing you've said there is too crazy. I don't think any of those things are radical enough that they would cause us to move these, with the exception of potentially chocolate pie, because I'm not very high on chocolate pie either.
Yeah.
So
I always find it kind of weird to like, how can I describe it? It's a strange way to compare it, but if you've ever gone to Dunkin' Donuts and you've gotten the cronut there, it has this weird sort of icing-y shell on it, and then it gets this weird film on the top of your mouth, like the roof of your mouth, and it's very uncomfortable. And for whatever, that's what I think of when I think of chocolate cream pie, at least the ones that I've had. I never find them to be especially pleasant in the mouthfeel. Even if the taste is good to great, it's chocolate pie, like the cream pie. It's not as good as like chocolate pudding or chocolate mousse or whatever. It's below all of that stuff, and then it's just in a pie crust. But what does that even mean? I think it can go lower. That's it. Otherwise, I'm fine with everything else you have.
Okay, I'll concede this. If we want to put it at the top of B, I will grant that.
okay,
Yeah, it's A for me too. So if you guys are both lower,
yeah,
B seems like a nice middle ground there.
yeah. I mean, we'll keep it at the top of B, I think, for now.
Are you all
I think
pretty
that's
negative
fair.
on candied yams?
Never really. I don't even know the taste.
Me neither.
Yeah, and for me, they're just like I almost never put them on my plate. They're just like meh.
I love it, especially like I get a little mixed up between sweet potatoes and yams because they're so similar and whatnot.
Right.
But I mean, I've made candied sweet potatoes and whatnot just as a snack before.
Interesting.
So if you'd be okay with it, would you be at least put it up to C? I know you don't. You seem more ambivalent.
Right. I
more
think
than
that was
radically
mostly
negative.
it was mostly just sort of like they're inoffensive and whatever, which yeah, I don't have any problem at all moving them to C tier.
Yeah, I mean, my main point is with Jerry. I truly can't even tell you what they taste like, but it's never been like they've offended my palate or anything. So to me, I'm just kind of, they're irrelevant, so that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'll
I think that's
concede
good.
the three of you aren't big on it, but I'm happy that you brought it up one letter.
Cool. All right, moving on to baked potato. Now, this is an interesting one because, like, again, this is another thing where, like, I like baked potatoes, but when it comes to a potato dish, it's not my favorite potato dish, and I'm not sure I've ever had a baked potato at Thanksgiving before. It feels like that is not the go-to potato dish.
No, I actually do really like them, and I like them a lot more than mashed, but I'm 100% with you in that I never have it at Thanksgiving. So to me, I would personally put it at B, but as long as it's above candied yams, for sure.
I know how popular baked potatoes are for a lot of people. I've never been a baked potato person. I much prefer mashed potatoes and other stuff like that. I mean, when it comes to baked potatoes, a lot of it is very similar to like just potato skins, just with a whole lot more potato in there. And I prefer when it's in the smaller capacity that a potato skin offers. So I find it a little too much actual potato without too much other stuff, especially like because some people just have baked potato where it's like just the potato and butter.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm not big on it, but I recognize how many people like it. But I also don't think that it's actually really much of a Thanksgiving dish specifically, at least where I am. Candied yams is much more popular. To me, but as I look down here, I actually am not going to even fight it because I see sweet potato casserole is also in the list, and that's much closer to what I would normally have. So I'm not even going to say if you want to put it, you can keep it where it is. I don't really care enough about it. I'm ambivalent.
Jerry, any thoughts on baked potatoes?
I wouldn't put this as a Thanksgiving item. I'd put it low because it's not a Thanksgiving item to me.
Right. To me, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Too. It's like as much as I'm fine. I think Jeff makes a great point too, though. It's like I would rather have potato skins where you're getting a better sort of blend of ingredients with the potato as opposed to a baked potato that can just be a little bit overwhelmingly potato.
Like I like potatoes. It's just, and the baked potato, it's just, again, I don't even think it belongs on the list.
Yeah, I don't associate it with Thanksgiving at all. So
no.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yep, I agree. Okay. Brussels sprouts. These are, I would put them F tier. I think they taste like poison.
I don't like them. I don't despise them, but I don't like them in general, and I don't think I've ever had them at Thanksgiving in my whole life.
I personally despise them.
Yeah,
I will not eat them. They don't go on the table. Hate them.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, they taste like actual poison. Like someone's trying to kill me if I eat one.
They're gross. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay.
No worries. Gross. Yeah, I kind of like, I would almost put broccoli in the list over them because I actually like broccoli and I think it's a little bit more universal. Not that I think it's a Thanksgiving item, but I'm kind of just surprised, but it's not biggie.
Okay. All right, moving on then. That was an easy one.
Yeah.
Corn. Now, they are showing corn on the cob. I think we're just going to group this in, all corn, whether it be, off the cob. What do you call corn that's not on a cob? Just corn?
Like corn kernels?
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, this is easily A tier for me. Corn is, besides broccoli, corn is probably my favorite vegetable, period. And it is associated with Thanksgiving, including the OG Thanksgiving.
Right. So corn is very iconic as far as Thanksgiving is concerned. I think in my personal rankings, I may have had an S tier.
Yeah. The main reason I didn't have that S tier is because there's going to be a vegetable dish coming up that to me is absolutely essential for my Thanksgiving. But I also do like corn. So I can go A or like lower S once we get to it.
Okay, sorry, this is my first time on here. Do you have a certain amount on S tier?
Nope, there's no limits to anything. Look, if there are 7 bomb ass foods that need to be in S tier, then there's 7 bomb ass foods that need to be in S tier.
Okay, then this is S tier for me, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
On every cake. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. I think what you were going to say is the same thing I was going to say. Every single time I'm loading my plate at Thanksgiving, corn is on that plate. 100% of the time. So
okay, yeah, I'm good with S tier because I do love corn in general.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've never been to a Thanksgiving dinner, no matter who was cooking, that didn't have corn at all.
Thanks,
Thank
Jake.
you, Jake.
Thanks for that endorsement.
All right, we're about to have a fight now.
Are we?
Your list. Yes, I saw your list. We're gonna fight now.
All right, what I miss here? Just corn?
Corn. Well, Brussels sprout. Oh no, you were here for Brussels sprouts.
Well, yeah, I was here for Brussels sprouts. It's grown. All right, here's the deal. Corn, not a big fan, but I also recognize how much everyone else loves it. So I recognize it deserves to be in the S tier, even though my personal taste says otherwise.
What?
Oh no.
Wait, get Paulina to come on.
Oh no.
They want you to come on here to give your opinion. Hold on, let me see if I can switch the speaker to.
Okay, a special guest, Paulina.
Ooh.
Hi, Paulina.
Hi. Wait, so I thought corn was traditionally like a summer food. I never like associate it with like a Thanksgiving dish necessarily. Like you go to summer barbecues, you have corn on the cob there.
Maybe corn on the cob is more summery, but just corn in general, I think, is heavily a part of Thanksgiving.
I think it is as well.
Like corn on its own?
Yeah, like corn on the cob. Yeah. You can have it corn on the cob. You can have it be if it's baby corns.
Yeah, like think of like scarecrows, like that whole like that whole aesthetic. But and Jake, we don't knock anything off the list off the tiers once we put them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, scarecrows convinced me.
Nice. Well done.
All right. All right, goodbye.
All right, now we're gonna have a fight though. I'm really excited for this. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I just want you to know. I understand that. I'm just switching it back to my headphones here. I understand that I missed the whole conversation, but the more I sit here, the more I'm unhappy with chocolate pie being over apple pie and ice cream.
Oh man.
I mean, I agree with that. To me, these are like in 100% reversed order. It should be apple pie, then ice cream with apple pie, then chocolate pie.
I mean, my preference is apple pie with ice cream, but I also love apple pie. I would also put them in A tier. It doesn't matter that they're a classic dish. I think that the more I think about it, the more I actually want to argue about it.
Okay, well, since we're already beyond it, though, I know every time we're done with these, we go back through and we revisit things. So let's save it for that.
I'll make one quick concession. I will put it behind apple pie with ice cream.
Okay, that makes it easy. We'll just do that now and get it over with then.
Okay.
All right, cool. Okay.
All right. This is S tier.
No, it isn't. That's
yes,
wrong.
Yes, it is.
Not. I'm not putting it S tier. As
I'm
long
having a
as
hard time seeing it. What is
as long as my hand is controlling the cursor,
It's
this
green
is not
bean.
going in S tier.
Jerry,
Oh.
it's green bean casserole, which is
Oh.
gross.
No, I
It's
was
so
gross.
disgusting.
There's fried onions
It's-
on it.
It's gross, but also I know that I've seen it in a bunch of places. But green bean casserole is also like if you watch those scenes in like funny movies or something where it's like, I made a green bean casserole. Oh yeah, all right, put it over there with everything else, and then no one wants to touch it because it's a green
you
bean
are
casserole.
insane. No, this makes
Yes,
green beans so
I'm
much
not-
better
See,
though.
Liam knows.
I'm not kidding you. That's exactly what happens in my family almost every year.
I
Green,
actually
somebody
think green
brings green
beans
bean
are fine
casserole
on their
never
own.
gets eaten.
Green beans by themselves are better because at least you can convince a little kid to take a few bites of it so that they have vegetables. I
You
think
people are
that green bean
insane.
casserole on its own is.
Nikki, you are apparently the only person on earth that likes green bean casserole.
No, my whole family does. It's so good because, like I said, fried onions. I despise onions in pretty much every other form. I love the crispy fried onions. The cream mushroom soup mix makes it creamy. It's to me, it's an amazing. That's the problem
If-
is people also probably don't make it correctly because you have.
If
because
you
have
think that a green bean casserole should be anywhere above a candied yam, then you are out of your mind.
Okay, fine. Out of my mind. I love green bean casserole.
Okay,
And-
and as a concession, we'll put it at D tier instead of F tier. Okay.
thank you. I mean, can you at least admit it's better than Brussels sprouts?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, of course.
100%.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's better than
Okay.
Brussels sprouts.
Okay,
I
fine.
thought-
Absolutely.
I'm sad, but I'll fine. Oh, and thank you, Pat, for having common sense.
Who's Pat? I'm not seeing anybody named Pat around here. Oh, there. Oh, okay. He said 5 tier, I guess. Okay. Cool.
Be
I
quiet.
will
Anyway,
do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, D. So we got it right. Okay.
whatever. This is us.
Brown. Okay, so here's the thing though. This is really weird because like you're not even eating gravy by itself. So this is like really dependent on
you-
what you're putting it on.
You don't just drink gravy on its own. You don't use it for like shampoo and just like rub it all over yourself. You don't think it's like that?
Well,
I had gravy for the
I've
very
done it
first
a few
time
times,
last year.
but
I
really?
had gravy for the very first time last year. I always avoided it because I always just looked at it as like this weird slop. And then I tried it last year, and there's an asterisk to me trying it because I went to some place I'd never been for Thanksgiving, and the whole meal was incredibly bland. And so that went along with their gravy was also incredibly bland. So I know that I haven't had an actual good quality gravy in order to properly gauge. So I am going to remove myself from the conversation, see how you guys feel about it.
Yeah,
Okay, I mean Jake has a great point here. It does
Yeah.
go on everything.
it
So-
does. It's like I'll pile my fork with literally everything I want on it. Like it doesn't matter if it doesn't necessarily go with gravy. The gravy goes on the whole fork at once.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's almost nothing on my plate that gravy doesn't go on. at
Now I
one
have a
point in the
question.
meal.
As a non-gravy eater,
Mhm.
what is the difference? Because it's going to come up too later, so might as well just attack it now. Brown gravy versus white gravy, and is one better than the other?
So
It-
brown gravy is going to be like a beef stock based.
Yeah, it's made with the beef
gravy.
drippings and stuff. I know that.
Yep, and then white gravy is I think it's
It's
more like
really creamy. It has
yeah,
like
it's
a
got
flour
like
base
flour
to
in it, right?
Yeah, which
Um,
I mean, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I don't know why the hell this is on the list to begin with. It goes with biscuits and sausage.
Right, it's like heavily peppered. So it's got like a heavy pepper flavoring to it, like
Yeah.
black pepper.
yeah, this
I've
is
never had white gravy on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Never.
neither
No.
have I. Neither have I.
no, which
Well,
I now
again, another thing I like white gravy, but I've never had it at Thanksgiving.
yeah, exactly. It's a very stereotypically Southern thing, and also like some people will put it on chicken as well. But yeah, so I do like it, but it's completely irrelevant to this conversation for me.
Okay, Jake, relax. Is gravy better than corn?
No,
Yeah, I don't
No.
think so either. No.
no.
Okay.
And I say that because
Ah.
I've eaten corn.
I don't know. I don't know. For me, it is because the corn I like to taste by itself, but the gravy is so multi-purpose. It's just it's so perfect for me.
All right, here's All right, now this is ranking Thanksgiving foods.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What now gravy though? You're focusing on what works best with Thanksgiving. How often do you have gravy outside of Thanksgiving?
Me personally, very rarely.
Yeah.
Brown gravy, very rarely at all.
All right, and you think that brown gravy is an instrumental? It's an instrumental part of every part of your Thanksgiving meal. You're saying like it makes everything better.
I
Yeah.
actually will concede to that because I prefer. I mean, I'm alone on this. I do prefer a green bean casserole to corn. So on that basis, I guess I can't really fight for corn over gravy because gravy is essential.
So
Now,
Okay,
Now
I
the
mean, it's a general flavor enhancer. I mean, you could almost like look if salt were on the list, I'd be like, okay, salt goes on everything and improves essentially everything you put it on. But I would never say salt is better than corn.
Like I said,
Yeah.
if I'm having one by themselves, like if we're just talking one by itself, corn is better. Okay, but if and you use any other metric, like putting it with stuff, do I consider it more with Thanksgiving, everything like that? Gravy goes above corn for me, without even blinking an eye. It's very instrumental in my Thanksgiving.
Okay, I mean, this to me, this isn't really worth fighting over.
Yeah.
I have my
Yeah.
piece, but they're both things that 100% of the time they are on my plate. So
yeah.
Very much.
That's what I was gathering from your whole feelings about it. I think that overall, especially because this is ranking Thanksgiving related foods, gravy is an instrumental part to every Thanksgiving meal, and corn isn't necessarily the only vegetable that you can have at Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
I think that gravy overall sounds like it's a higher ranking based on its instrumental part in your meal.
all right,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, just a quick tangent. Like to go back to your whole throughout the rest of the year, I don't eat a lot of turkey in general, but gravy does enhance turkey for me across the board, even if
Well-
it's not a Thanksgiving meal.
We'll get to this later, but turkey requires gravy because turkey is disgusting. All right.
Oh,
anyways,
now you're
mashed
getting too far.
potatoes.
But
Mashed
potatoes
potato.
Mashed
Mashed potatoes.
is A
You go.
for me, A or B for me, because we're gonna get to stuffing later, and to me, stuffing is gonna be above mashed potatoes. But I do like mashed potatoes, so I can go A or B.
I'm personally mashed potatoes is one of my favorite sides of all time. I eat it. I'll eat it with like throughout the year, depending on what meals at a restaurant. I think that it is absolutely a vital part of my own plate on Thanksgiving, especially my grandmother's recipe, which has roasted garlic and fontina parmesan, green onions, both the raw green parts and the sauteed in butter white pieces as well. All of it comes together to make this awesome mashed potato that's better than any restaurant quality one. Personally, for me, it's an S tier.
It's also an S tier for me. I'll just put
It's
that
I
out
think
there.
that I personally think it goes above corn. I can't argue gravy, so I can't say if it goes above or below gravy.
It goes below gravy for me because I guess for me the reason being that because and maybe I'm just thinking in terms of the food groups too specifically, but in terms of Thanksgiving carbs, I know I'm gonna put dressing above it, but I still like it, so that's fine.
Yeah, and so will I. But again, me kind of going back to my 100% on the plate. Again, mashed potatoes, another thing that is 100% of the time on my plate.
Okay, that's fair.
without a doubt, it's all the points you guys just said. It's a little bit above corn, not very much, but it's a little bit, and a little bit behind gravy for me.
All right.
Okay.
Now, what the fuck's white gravy?
White
had this
gravy.
conversation.
This,
mean, here's-
this is,
again,
this is
it's like-
irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
It's
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it above green bean casserole just because.
I'm
No,
abstaining from it.
yeah.
I'm abstaining from the gravy conversation still.
No way. It needs to go below green bean casserole because at least green bean casserole is a traditional Thanksgiving dish.
All
White
right.
gravy goes on
Okay. All right.
biscuits.
Whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Who cares
I was
about
gonna
white
say,
gravy? Honestly.
There's no way it's above in taste wise. It's 100 times above it.
Agree.
In Thanksgiving wise, it's below it.
Right. It just
Yeah.
has no
That's
business
fair.
being on a Thanksgiving list, but I could never in good conscience put it below Brussels sprouts.
No, because I actually like the taste of a good white gravy, so that's fine.
All right. Sweet potato casserole.
That sweet potato casserole is, I think that it is a mid B tier. I think that it is not as good as as apple pie or apple pie and ice cream. I think it's better than chocolate pie. I think it's a great side that also has enough sweetness to it to offset some of the salt and other stuff in other parts of the meals, without it being a full-on dessert. I don't think that it's the best thing or one of the few best things that you can have at Thanksgiving, but I think that it's just all around just a really good side dish.
So
Yeah.
this kind of goes back to the whole point I made earlier about the fact that my family doesn't really cook. I remember one Thanksgiving we made sweet potatoes, and I don't think anyone liked them, but they were probably just cheap microwavable ones than actual homemade. So for me, I have a hard time just imagining that it would be better than pie in general, but I also don't have strong opinions about it. So mid B is fine, but I personally would not put it above the pies, but that's okay.
Jerry, thoughts?
I honestly, I don't know if I've ever had it.
Okay.
So I'm going to abstain for this one.
Yeah.
I think we could put it under the apple pies, and that can be okay. Is that?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I'm
feels
good with
good.
that.
I love it. But you also have to remember, I'm saying this thinking that apple pie should be at least mid A tier, and it hasn't happened. So
Yeah.
That's
Get there.
understandable.
Get there.
Okay. Next, dressing, aka stuffing for certain regions of the world.
Yes.
This is S tier for me. I
This is
absolutely fucking love stuffing.
100% S tier, and it's another thing gravy goes on.
I mean, to me,
And
it's above.
I think it's
gravy.
above because it is one of my absolute top favorite things is when we cook the turkey and we have all of this stuffing, and we have a few different kinds. We have it where it's baked on where it's made on its own in containers. But then my favorite stuffing is the one where it's actually cooking inside of the turkey as the turkey cooks. And that is the best, the juiciest, the tastiest. And I think it's my favorite part of the meal.
And going back to like Thanksgiving foods, I don't have stuffing other than Thanksgiving.
Ever.
I eat
No.
it one
Get
day a
rid of it
year,
outside
and
of
I love it so much on that one day. It is like the quintessential. I mean, other than turkey, but it is the quintessential
turkey.
Thanksgiving food.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. No arguments
Yep.
here at all.
Love it.
All right, cool.
Okay, bread pudding. To me, I like bread pudding more than any of the other desserts that we have on here so far.
I'm not a fan of bread pudding.
Really?
Go ahead, Jeff.
No, just I'm not a fan of it. I find it to be bland. I've never really liked it. And if there were 10 things on a dessert menu, I would either look at the one or two things that might intrigue me or end up skipping dessert altogether rather than try and have bread pudding.
So I'm gonna say this. It also depends on the exact bread pudding itself because it can vary tremendously. It's very easy to screw up. And there's also a pretty wide variety of flavors of it. But generally speaking, I do, other than the chocolate pie and the pumpkin, I do like it the most out of the desserts once done well. But the other thing for me, it's another case where it's really not Thanksgiving dish to me.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
the
my
most-
other thing is like we already have so much stuffing, and then we're gonna have another dish that's made primarily of ripped up bread.
True.
That's fair. So for me personally, I'd put it top of C because I do really love it. That's just not Thanksgiving to me. Actually,
Yeah, I don't think
I think anywhere in C is good. I love
Put it
bread
under-
pudding,
put-
but
I'd put it under candied yams because candied yams are delicious.
All right. I mean, that's fair because I don't feel that strong. I don't feel strongly enough since candy yams are part of your Thanksgiving.
Jerry, you got any strong opinions on bread pudding?
It's okay. It's lower end dessert.
Okay.
I mean, it's not one I'm going to fight for
It's fine.
or against.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's fair.
All right. I'm hoping that we're going to fill this giant void in the A tier right now with baked
Yes,
mac and
that's-
cheese because this feels like a very much an A tier.
I
Yeah.
never have
Food
mac
for me.
and cheese at Thanksgiving, but I also know that plenty of people do, and also mac and cheese is one of my favorite things. So I'm fine
Yeah.
having it at 8.
It's
Oh,
not as.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Jerry. I was just gonna say it's not a Thanksgiving
I don't- I'm not
staple, I don't 100% need it, but I do love it, and I've absolutely had it at Thanksgivings before.
Lots of
So
people
I'm more than happy to have it today.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a Thanksgiving staple, but it's definitely on the menu enough at Thanksgiving that it makes sense as a Thanksgiving food.
Yeah.
And I know Jerry wants it S tier, but I think,
This is. I'm just gonna say I get where you guys are coming from. This is highest S tier for me because we make this baked mac and cheese my mom makes, and it is literally my favorite thing about Thanksgiving. She only makes it once or twice a year. It is literally the best part of Thanksgiving for me, and it is a essential part of my Thanksgiving dinner.
okay.
But I get that's me. There's no way this is not at least highest A for me.
It is at
I
least
would-
highest A.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's fair. And I think up to this point, we've kind of had a consensus on what was S tier. So the fact that we don't have a consensus here makes sense that maybe this gets dropped down one spot.
Yeah, I can't see anything on this list because when I made my personal list, aside from chocolate pie, it was the top of A. So I'm happy with that.
I'm not
All right.
happy about it, but I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you get it and you understand why it is the way it is, we can be happy. Okay. Next, we have pumpkin pie. The no drama, just
Top of
straight
S
to the
tier.
top.
I want to fucking
No
hear about it. It's
questions
top
asked.
of S tier.
It is Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie
It is.
is Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
It is the
Yeah.
one main dish every year, and this is the first year because things are screwy that I am not personally making it for everyone. That is the one thing that I've always tasked because it is the best thing about Thanksgiving. It is the number one dish. It doesn't matter if there's turkey. It doesn't matter about gravy. It doesn't matter about stuffing, mashed potatoes, corn, apple pie, bullshit. Pumpkin pie is number one.
100% agree. It is number one. It's like if there could be, I would actually be in favor of putting another tier on here above S tier and moving pumpkin pie to it by itself.
P tier.
Okay. All right. I'm the minority where here, because here's the thing. I have a massive sweet tooth, but Thanksgiving to me is considerably more about the savory to me. So on my list, I did have pumpkin at the bottom of S, but I understand. And the thing is, I think it's the most iconic food in terms of its connection to Thanksgiving, where all these foods you can make an argument are connected to the rest of the year. You can't argue that with pumpkin pie. So I'll concede
It is a
that.
delicious edible gourd.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is a gourd.
The only thing I would say is I don't think it's the most iconic. I think turkey is, but it's
Yeah,
the
I
best
agree.
part of Thanksgiving, in my opinion. So there's no way this is not high, at least not close to the highest S tier.
So I will say turkey might have a higher association with Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving and pumpkin pie have a much more like 1-to-1 correlation, right? Whereas
Yeah,
turkey
I go to-
turkey exists on every day of the year. You can go get a turkey sub or whatever
Yeah.
anytime you want, but no one's serving pumpkin
That's
pie
exactly
throughout
what
the
I was
year.
gonna say. I go to
Yeah.
Primo
I
Hoagies. I'm
completely
gonna go
agree
get a
with that.
turkey hoagie. Yeah.
All right, go with me.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, green beans. Again, trash. Just whatever.
I don't
To me,
mind
they're
them. I'm kind of ambivalent.
I'm so ambivalent on green beans that they're so I care so little for them that I don't care where they're placed as long as they're not above C.
I would put them at C because I can eat them. They're a mid-tier vegetable for me. But I don't love them. I'd rather have broccoli.
Okay.
Which is conspicuously absent on here, and I've seen that everywhere.
So to be fair, I don't consider broccoli a Thanksgiving veggie by any means.
Yeah, me
But
either.
I've had it occasionally at Thanksgiving dinner at my grandparents. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a staple. But since this is partially based on personal preference, I would put it higher if it were on here.
You guys happy with bottom of C?
Sure.
Yes.
now? Yeah.
Fortunately.
Okay.
Couldn't care less.
I mean, I like it
Okay.
more. I like green bean casserole more, but I'll accept it.
All right. Bread rolls.
So here's what I would like to say about bread rolls. I never have it, and it's the same issue that I have that I said about bread pudding. When it comes to the meal that you're having for Thanksgiving, you already have so much bread in the stuffing. Having more bread outside of that, I find to be just a little too superfluous. I think it's overindulgent in the amount of bread you have when there's so much other food. So it's never included. I like bread rolls, but you get bread rolls every time you go to a restaurant ever.
See, I
So I don't think
disagree
it's- I
about
don't think
the
it's-
bread. It's got such a different flavor profile from the stuffing that it still feels appropriate to have it in addition.
But I don't
to
think
stuffing.
but it's not just Thanksgiving though. It is.
Don't diss holy bread.
She told me. I don't know if you heard
See,
that. She
we
said,
did.
"Don't diss
Bread
the
is the
bread."
We did.
greatest gift
Yeah.
ever.
She's
Yeah.
saying bread is the greatest gift ever.
And that's
So-
why he's our favorite.
Here's what I'll also say is that I'm with you in that
their favorite.
I don't consider it 100% essential, and like my main carb is going to be stuffing. But what I will say, the benefit of having it is you're getting this enormous profile of flavors. Some that can be a little overwhelming. It's nice to sometimes like it's a bit of a palate cleanser. So even if it's just like grabbing one roll, like if you start feeling sick, it's kind of a helper in a way. So I kind of like it for that purpose, but I wouldn't put it super high.
Yeah, I don't think it should go high. I don't think it should go low. Then I just
It-
think that there are other quintessential things that are Thanksgiving foods. Bread is everywhere all the time.
To me,
Bread
it feels very much in line with mac and cheese. It's a year-round food that's very good that is also available on Thanksgiving. But you don't associate it with Thanksgiving, but it's very good. So
Yeah,
and it's always there.
I'm good with that.
All right.
That works.
I'm not
perfect
going to
for me.
fight it enough.
I mean, I know I'm going to hit a roadblock in a little bit, actually near the end of this, but we'll get there when we get there. All right, oyster dressing. I have no fucking clue what this is. I
Oyster
instinctively
dressing
I
is
want to put
literally
it.
just stuffing with oysters cooked in with it. Like
Okay.
that's it.
I don't like it at all. I've
I-
had it.
I
before.
just-
Don't like it at all.
I have a shellfish allergy, so I can't say anything about it. But
I never have it.
Okay.
It's better than Brussels sprouts.
I want to put it in
But-
F tier just because like it
Wait,
makes
we
me
just all interrupted.
angry to what? Oh, sorry.
no, there's gonna be a lot of
Sorry.
interrupting. It's fine. We're talking about food. All I was gonna say is, but I did bring this up to two people I worked with who are in their 40s, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's totally a staple." Because I had never heard of this before until I looked at this list. So
It is a
so I will put it above Brussels sprouts for that reason. But
Yeah.
otherwise,
it
I
is a
don't care.
staple. It's there every Thanksgiving meal for me, and every Thanksgiving I avoid it.
Yeah, to me, it's like regular stuffing is so close to perfect that it feels like this deserves to be an F just for tampering with stuffing.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I can perfectly live with that.
Okay, wonderful. All right.
Yeah, but
Cranberry sauce. Or
Ash,
what do you think of
still
cranberry
on-
sauce?
Okay,
I avoid it.
I avoid
This
it
is
too.
ass. So here's my thing though, is I love it, but I need the jelly that comes out of the can. I don't like the one with the lumps of berries in it. I prefer the canned one.
Wait,
And
are
the
you
thing-
saying you prefer the artificial bullshit rather than like the homemade ones with like
The one that you
Yelling
pour out and
ingredients?
it still has the grooves
You-
from
you-
the shape
you-
of the
you
can.
Yes, I love it.
That's
And
not
the
even
thing-
cranberry
molded-
sauce.
it's
That's
molded
like
to the
cranberry
can.
gelatin.
I call it cranberry jelly. I unashamedly love it. My whole family loves it. Now I'll say this is that it's one of those things to where like I'll just take a sliver of the can-shaped gelatinous form because I'll then like take a small bit of it
Oh.
to eat with each of because it needs to be on my bite of turkey stuffing, gravy, and everything else. But not in
You're
huge
making
amounts.
my stomach flip. You're making my stomach flip thinking it's like, yeah, let me just slice this gelatin and just bite into it.
So here's what I'll say, right? So Jerry had mac and cheese as number one S tier, and we all kind of beat that back saying like it's good, but it's not that. Now you're saying basically the same thing. Cranberry sauce is absolutely S tier, but the rest of us are not saying,
Yeah, that's
you know,
fine.
it's good. We're like
Here's what I'll
so
say.
to me, it
for-
feels somewhere in B if we're gonna,
ahead,
entertain this at
Jerry.
all.
Go ahead,
Here's
Jerry.
what
Put
I'll
on to
say.
Cleveland answer.
It's iconic.
Yes.
To me,
It
with
is
Thanksgiving.
iconic.
Not a big fan, but it's iconic, and it shouldn't be C. I would put low B. Just
That's
literally
fine.
I'm
because
fine
of
with it
that
at the bottom
iconic
of B.
food.
That's fine, and that's the thing to where I love it, but I literally don't eat it
Yeah.
any other time.
I
of
was
year.
I was going to advocate low end of B because it shouldn't be above any of the pies or sweet potato casseroles. So that's perfect because I do understand exactly what Jerry was saying, which is iconic. It's
Right.
gross,
Yeah.
but it's iconic.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. Sweet potato pie.
This is one where I feel like if I've ever had it, I would probably like it more than other forms of sweet potato. But because it's pie, I feel like it should be kind of high. But otherwise, I'm not sure.
I like sweet potato pie. I just never think about it. I think that it's probably better than sweet potato casserole, but like that's it. I mean, it's better than chocolate pie, but you know my feeling about that already.
It's not.
I mean,
better
it
than
feels
chocolate pie.
it feels redundant and like a lesser version of anything else that you would have in its place.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's still really good. It's just
Right.
that's the problem is you're saying redundant, but saying it's that's the problem. It's still really good. Just because there's other stuff that's like equal or something doesn't mean that it's not still good.
It'll just never find its way onto my plate, though. That's the thing. It's like if given the option to have pumpkin pie, I'm taking
I'd put it
pumpkin pie
under
100
sweet
times
potato
out of
casserole.
100.
I could put it
So-
under sweet potato casserole because sweet potato casserole would be much more likely to be on my plate.
So I'm just curious. What I'm kind of surprised by is the fact that just plain old sweet potatoes isn't on here at all. But it has casserole just kind of usurped it as being a more traditional dish.
Yeah, I think probably.
Yeah, sweet potato casserole is literally just the mashed sweet potatoes with some brown sugar and stuff in there, and then it's baked with marshmallows on top.
Okay,
That's it.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Pecan. How do you guys pronounce that? Pecan. Or
I say
Pecan,
pecan.
and
I
it
say
is better than
pecan.
chocolate pie. Better than chocolate pie, not as good as apple pie and ice cream.
So
That's my feeling.
I've never had it, but just looking at it, the texture looks really good. And I tend to prefer pies that aren't fruit.
Mhm.
So I have a feeling I would probably like it more than the other pies besides chocolate and pumpkin. But I can't really say otherwise.
The other thing about pecan pie though is especially if you're thinking of kind of like breaking down your Thanksgiving meal, pecan pie you can have whenever, but it is like really like a fall type of pie dish. But
I agree.
it is much more decadent and heavy than something like pumpkin pie. So after the heavy kind of Thanksgiving meal that you have, you're probably not as likely to be like, yes, let me have this extremely decadent, very heavy feeling pie, because you might want a couple bites and then you're done. So it's very good, but there are better things out there.
To me, pecan is below all the other pies on our B list. I
agree. I mean, I would prefer an apple pie over
Yeah.
way over pecan pie.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is it's lower than apple pies, but above chocolate pie. That's my personal feeling.
See, and I love chocolate pie, so chocolate pie is way above it. But I get where we're at with chocolate right there.
Okay. Next up, we have ham. Ham is my protein on Thanksgiving. I don't like turkey. Ham to me is entirely superior.
I don't think I ever have ham. And I was thinking about this the other day because I do like ham in general and it's more relevant to my daily life. But I was thinking to myself, like, if I'm talking about a sandwich, I love ham way more than turkey. But if I'm talking about like just the pure meat of it, I will take the turkey, especially on Thanksgiving with the gravy over ham pretty easily.
I've never been big on ham in general. I mean, like the most ham that I've had recently is in all the Cubanos that I've had in the last 6 months.
I was gonna say I love Cubanos.
Yeah, I had a Cubano yesterday. But ham for me, like if I'm having sliced ham, that's Christmas Eve with some of my family.
Or Easter.
We don't do anything for Easter, so it's not a Thanksgiving protein to me. It sounds like you do ham mostly because you just don't like turkey more so than.
Well, I mean, turkey's just so bland. I mean, at my family Thanksgivings, we always have ham and turkey. and it's
Same.
kind of, it's a choice. Some people get ham, some people get turkey. For me, it's always ham.
Yeah,
To
and
me-
people are, go ahead, Yuri.
Go ahead. I'll go ahead. To me, ham is right up there with turkey when it comes to taste. I both put them on my plate. It's always there on Thanksgiving, but I understand it's not. It's considered by most people a Christmas-ish thing, but to me, it's right up there with turkey when it comes to Thanksgiving.
I guess my family's also just not big enough because I can't imagine us having both because we're just gonna end up. I mean, leftovers are great, but that would just be a waste.
I think that as a result of the positivity from Zach and Jerry, it should probably be exactly where Zach just put it.
Yeah.
That's good with me because I do like ham in general, but yeah, that's fine.
See,
Okay.
Nikki, when you have a grandparents that have 21 grandkids, and you get them all together, you get a few proteins going in, you get a lot of stuff going on.
That's understandable. You have a lot of palates to cater to.
Yeah.
Right. Same. I mean, from my family, we start at my great grandma who had 5 daughters, and then it goes down from there. So it's a lot of people at our Thanksgivings. So you got to have options.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Okay. So cornbread. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the single best bread version that exists. It's S tier, but there's a catch here, which is I don't think I've ever had cornbread on Thanksgiving.
That's
No.
what I was
It's
gonna say.
like
I've
it-
never had it on Thanksgiving.
So I feel bad putting it anywhere like B, but it doesn't even feel appropriate here as much as I love it.
Yeah, whoever made this must be from the South between that and white gravy because
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
'cause it's
Yeah.
It's
me, it's-
absolutely a great food. I'm sorry, we're all interrupting each other. I'm gonna hold back. You go.
Okay, to me, exactly the same. I love cornbread to death. Never even thought about having it on Thanksgiving. Never even once did it cross the mind.
Right. It feels out of place on this
Mhm.
list, which is unfortunate because it's like there's sort of a instinctive thing where it's like a shock to the system where I see it ranked to like down in D or something like that.
Yeah, cornbread is so good, like especially with like some you have like some honey butter or something that gets put on it when it's nice and fresh and warm and it's just perfect. But it's just I've never had it at Thanksgiving. I have it when I get fried chicken from my favorite fried chicken place here in Philly. I don't have it, in November in like tomorrow. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna have it tomorrow.
it's much better than white gravy for me, but it's equally not relevant to Thanksgiving. So,
Yeah.
so I'm happy to put it there. I mean, I'm not happy, but I will do it
Yeah.
I will accept that is where it should be.
If-
Okay, turkey.
If this list were not just Thanksgiving, it'd be almost S tier for me.
It'd
Yeah.
be S tier.
It'd be
If
S
we're
tier
just
for
talking
me.
about, if we're just ranking these foods as foods, it would be an S tier,
Right. Me too.
or at least a high A tier, depending on when we close rates.
Okay, turkey. I mean, again, I don't care for turkey. It's pretty bland, but I feel like it would almost be sacrilege not to put it at S tier just from the
Yeah.
nature of the
I
holiday.
I think I agree with the blandness. I think that if you need to do it perfectly, or else it's dry.
yeah,
I think that it's supposed to be an S tier, but it's like, are we all reluctant to put it in?
Right.
S
To me,
tier?
it's like S tier in theory, right?
I'm not.
I
I'm
would-
not reluctant. I like it, but it's not my. I would take chicken on a day-to-day basis. So actually, what's really funny is occasionally my family will do like a Thanksgiving for dinner where we get cranberry and stuffing and stuff. But more often than not, we'll get a rotisserie chicken and get chicken gravy instead.
I think that it should. Did you just put ham above bread rolls?
Oh, sorry. That must have been. I didn't mean to do that. I promise. I mean, I would
think
do that, but I didn't mean to do that.
Because when it comes to taste, and I think that it's because like my personal feeling is it should probably be S tier, but I also think that it should be right below baked mac and cheese because of taste when you also combine it with like its crucial place in Thanksgiving. So we're ranking Thanksgiving foods by their taste, their placement in Thanksgiving. I guess you could call it a legacy in terms of like
Mhm.
of when you think Thanksgiving, what do you think? It is. Now there was a comment in here earlier that what's his name said. Who was it here?
I think
was it-
Dom said something
Dom.
about being number
It's
one.
called-
You call it
it's called-
Turkey Day.
You call it Turkey Day, not Pumpkin Pie Day. So with all of that, I think that you should probably put it in S tier. I would put it above corn.
Yeah, I
But-
agree.
I would put it above corn.
Here's my other thing is, well, 2 points is one, when it is done well, it is really good and I do enjoy it. But 2, it also further justifies Gravy's placement in S tier, because even though I would put on mash and dressing, it's especially crucial for turkey. So to me, it's almost like not quite a pairing, but they're kind of a pairing for me, to where it's
But
like
doesn't that bring turkey actually down a notch? Where you're saying like it needs that pairing in order to even
but then I would bring gravy down with it.
because gravy works with everything, whereas
It
turkey only works with gravy.
Yeah, but gravy also doesn't. You're not just drinking gravy on its own, though.
Right, I know, but you're putting it there because it's like the master flavorer.
Yeah,
It's the
I mean,
utility player.
Right,
I just
exactly.
think it should be above corn. I think it should be S tier above corn, but no higher because, like everything else, more except for gravy, which I still need to like really try good gravy for.
I don't
Honestly,
even- good.
this right here is one of the things that I'm not the biggest fan of, but in my heart, it has to be like number one just because of like its iconic status.
See, that's why I think it should be at the bottom of S, because I feel like we're all saying kind of the same thing. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, but also I don't like corn,
I feel
that's
like
why
it's,
I'm saying
it's
above corn.
iconic status is pulling a lot of weight right now. You know,
Yeah.
the history of it is doing
I don't
most of
know.
the work.
I don't know. That's what happened with Star Wars in the last ranking. A lot of the history did the hard
Okay.
pulling.
Star
for
Wars
that,
is
so-
amazing.
Yeah, you need to relax. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I do honestly like it. I can't say that I dislike turkey. It's far from being my favorite protein, but I feel like if I went to Thanksgiving and it's not there, I would kind of just want to up and leave.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about Thanksgiving specifically.
Mhm.
So I think that my personal feeling is I like turkey more than corn. But I understand your love of corn and everything. I actually think that Zach, you saying like we all kind of have similar feelings, blah blah blah. Under corn in S tier is a pretty good, solid consensus,
Mhm.
I think so.
and I'm fine with that.
Me too. If it's lower, it can't be out of us, but that's fine with me.
It feels weird, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because I do like everything that's above it. I don't not like any of that. So
Okay, well, that's all of our items. So let's give this a once over here and see, is there anything standing out? I mean, first thing that stands out, we got a terrible shape. The shape is bad. Okay, this is a bad
It-
shape.
I was gonna say,
Alright.
like, if not for us having so many, it would also look like a middle finger.
That's true.
It
Of a
it's-
six-fingered person, but
it's the suit. It's kind of like you're trying to make the Sufi from like Dane Cook, where he's like that.
oh yeah. See, you know what I think this says though, because I think if you get rid of S tier, you actually have a decent shape here. So what it says is that there are a handful of foods on Thanksgiving that everyone just agrees on are like 100% staples of Thanksgiving. They always end up on your plate. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay for that to kind of be the way that this ranking works.
Also, what's really interesting to me is everything in B tier is a sweet dessert or dessert item. So I think to me it further justifies that they're all good, but it just further strengthens the case that pumpkin pie is essential.
Agreed.
I really want, and I know it will level out S and B this way unless we move it around. I really want apple pie and ice cream in A tier. I'll put it below ham because I'm just not a ham person. I know how much other people love it. I think that it is one of the best single meals on here, and I think that it is. I just think it's
It's
great.
a meal. Single
and-
meal.
I just love it.
And actually,
need a
I
whole-
do
need a
agree.
whole apple pie and ice cream on. So
I think
need it.
early on we may have been playing it a little too safe with
Yeah.
the different pies and the sort of dessert type elements. So
I'm fine with that.
so what if we
I'm
did?
not. Chocolate
What if we did
pie
this?
is so much better.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
so
that
much
makes me
better.
really happy.
Okay,
So
it's not
I'm
even
like,
close.
All right. I'm actually perfectly okay with that. I still prefer chocolate, but with a hot slice of apple with ice
Now-
cream, I can dig that.
Now, can you just real quick,
Mhm.
Nikki, can you run down all the ingredients that are in a green bean casserole that you know of besides
So what-
fried onions?
Yes. So, I mean, it's honestly very simple. And again, like clearly my family's weird, but we all do like it. So it's green beans, the fried onions, which you put in it as well as throw them on top, cream of mushroom soup, soy sauce, and then salt and pepper.
Okay,
Now,
never
there's
mind.
probably-
I was really gonna try and fight to put it up higher for you, but then you just described what was in it, and I can't. Never mind.
Not that.
That's fine. It's fine. My family's just weird. Fine. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, I like the creaminess of it, of the cream mushroom and the fried onions, but fine.
What if we did
I
that?
appreciate your, no.
Look at that.
No, Zach.
Incredible.
You're
Bad,
ruining
Zach.
The shape. The shape is better this way.
No. This is a perfect shape if you do that.
Why?
What are you talking about? You got individual steps all along the way with it
Oh.
coming to a crescendo in A. I mean, this is a weird
no.
stagger here. But no, this feels good. This feels right
Yes.
in,
No.
in every way possible.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, other than I get
It'd
them.
be way above it.
Chocolate's too high, mac and cheese is too low. I mean,
I
it's a
hate-
four-person
I
panel
hate-
here, Jerry.
I hate seeing how low cornbread is, but it's Thanksgiving.
Joe, what are you talking about? Turkey is S tier.
Who said? Oh,
Oh, that's because
It-
Zach was being obsessed with the shape of it. So, but it's okay. We fix it.
yeah. He's
It's all good,
he's-
okay? It's okay.
I'm sure he loves
his-
our S here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Zach doesn't call the serial killer Michael Myers. He calls him by his nickname, The Shape. His favorite Ed Sheeran song is "The Shape of You."
My favorite movie,
His
The Shape of Water.
is The Shape of Water.
Mhm. I mean, there's just something satisfying about seeing
His
you know,
favorite
this
toy,
breakdown.
his
a normal
favorite toy when he was a
distribution.
child. His favorite
Okay.
toy when he was a child was when he would put like the square in the square holes and like the circles in the square circles. He's been about shapes his whole life.
Yeah.
Better
He
believe
also he also loves the Brendan Meyer classic Color Out of Space because he likes it when the colors coordinate with each other. That's the thing. But no, overall, I'm happy though.
All right. Let's see here. Yeah, that was fun. And I think that was probably the easiest of all the tier lists that we've done so far. I didn't feel
I
like there
know.
were any major disagreements. I mean, the green bean casserole got things heated early, but I think it got squashed pretty quickly. Sorry, Nikki. 3-1. It happens.
Hey,
Fair
I was
enough.
so at the end there. I'm like, wait a minute. I just piled on. I just had to hear the ingredients, and then you're like, yeah, it's green beans with like cream of mushroom soup and soy sauce, and I'm just thinking to myself, that just sounds gross.
Fine. Fine. I mean, that's the thing. It's like on their own, it does that. The individual pieces of it do sound pretty awful. But like I said,
Yeah, you're right.
it's-
Except for soy sauce, I drink that all day.
Hey,
Yeah.
so, question: was there anything missing from this list that you guys thought? So, like for my family, one thing that's always at Thanksgiving is deviled eggs. I don't know if you guys have those or not.
Yes.
And
We
they're
do.
pretty much only at sort of like the big holidays: Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So they do feel very much a Thanksgiving food to me. And
Yeah,
they would have been pretty high for me.
I only ever have deviled eggs when I visit my like grandparents and my grandmother makes them, and like that's it.
Yeah.
So it's not a Thanksgiving food to me, but you all just were like, "Oh my god, yeah, deviled eggs."
So ironically, what made me
I
think of
don't know.
that is you were talking about the green bean casserole ingredients and saying like all these ingredients are bad. And as a kid, when I first found out how deviled eggs were made, like what the filling was, it's basically just hard-boiled egg yolks, mayonnaise, and mustard. Three things that I don't really like that much, and one thing that I absolutely hate in mustard. But for whatever reason, you mix them all together, and it's fantastic. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how
I
that
do not-
happens, but
I do not like mustard, but I really like a good Cubano, which has mustard in it.
If if deviled eggs again, that would have been the one I'd answered. It would have been high A tier for me.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I think they would have been A tier for me.
they're A tier because they're not. I don't exclusively associate them with Thanksgiving. My parents just make them all the time for the hell of it. If they want an appetizer, and that's also the key word, is it's more of an appetizer than a main component of the full meal. But I do love them in general. And then also we put little pickles in ours too. But yeah. But other than that, like there was nothing really missing. That was pretty much everything. Other than I was still, even though they kind of made up for it with the pie and the what's the other thing? But I was surprised that just straight sweet potatoes were not a thing on the list.
Right. I think if anything, there were probably too many things included in this list than not enough things. So,
Yeah. Like gravy.
It could have been just a little bit different, and then you might have been able to have a perfect shape. But unfortunately, you didn't have the right number of things. What
we
the
need
fuck
2
was
more
white gravy
things.
doing on
Let's
there?
see if we had deviled eggs and just regular sweet potatoes, we could have had a perfect shape.
Whoever put the Zodiac Thanksgiving dish association thing in the chat the other day, like punch was for Aries, which is just weird. But I guess I kind of see it. But I guess that would be D.
I don't know anything about zodiac signs. I know I'm an Aries, but I don't know what that means.
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay. Cool.
I'm an Aquarius. No
Nice.
idea.
I don't know
that
what
means
any of that means.
Me either.
Well, Aries is what Drew is, and their element is fire. So if that means anything,
I know the symbol is a ram.
yes. And then and they're mostly end of March through like the first 2/3 of April. And they're supposed to be like natural born layers and headstrong. So
Well, that makes sense for me.
yeah, there's a lot of Aries, I feel like, in the generals, but I think that kind of makes sense because Dan is also one, and like I said, Drew is one. But yeah. And then I think Scorpio and Aquarius would be water benders in that case. I know Scorpio is definitely.
Waterbenders.
I like,
All right.
like there's associated elements with all of them, so that's how I think of them.
I know it's a fish, so I would assume water bending would be tied in there. Even though I lean more toward earth bending, personally.
I absolutely just started zoning out.
I was going to say
trying
this
to pay-
conversation took a turn.
I was
Yeah.
trying to pay attention, but then everything changed in the Fire Nation attack.
Yeah, actually, wait, I just Googled it. Apparently, Aquarius is air, which is really weird, but cool.
I
You're
thought it
an
was a-
airbender.
Yeah. Maddie Gunner, Leo, represent. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Alrighty.
That's what
But-
DiCaprio's lawyer says when he talks to people for like new roles. He's like, Leo, represent.
Sounds
Indeed.
good.
Okay. Well, hey, this was a good one. Short and sweet and a lot of fun. So thank you guys for joining today. And we
Yeah.
will see you on the next one. See ya.
Salute.
Salute.